for a second, because I'm kind of mix these two together a bit, because Ironheart and M3gan, I think, are interesting. These are the two new projects. They just came out very recently. And right now the internet's blowing up over Ironheart because apparently it's the worst thing ever created in the history of mankind. Sure, and we can go over some of those reviews because I actually think I found a couple that I think are kind of hilarious.
Do
But
they give any legitimate criticism to it, or is it
no,
just more
no,
so blind rage baiting
yes,
anger?
that is absolutely what
Uh,
it is, and they're not being racist. Don't worry. But
I wasn't
here,
gonna say it, but I just kind of figured that was the case.
yeah. Well, I mean, I feel like 10 or maybe even 5 years ago, the YouTube YouTube won't have been would still be talked about Ironheart, but I feel like M3gan 2 would have been a far bigger topic of discussion than it is now because it's been drowned out by the Ironheart noise. Which I mean, no matter what you think of Ironheart, it's it's not offensive. It's not like, it's not like I'm watching and like think I'm watching like a fucking disaster or anything. And we'll get to more clear cut points, but I thought it was fine. But M3gan is a movie, M3gan 2 specifically is a movie where I would love to see the behind the scenes feature on this
Yeah,
because like I don't even think I saw trailers walking into this, and I usually watch like a ton of trailers doing this, and I don't think I saw any of the trailers going into this, and I was pretty much caught off guard. Well, I guess we can get to the beginning because this movie opens in the Iran border or something like that. It doesn't matter, some Middle Eastern country.
Iranian. Yep.
Yeah. Where we have this person who's with a mask on, being captured and going to be executed by some evildoers. And in my mind, I'm thinking, oh shit, are we gonna do like M3gan's in the Middle East and we have to go stop her? Because I'm kind of down for that. Let's go batshit with this.
Yeah, I was like, did they sell the design to the government? Like,
Are are are,
what are
are
we
we do,
doing here?
Are we doing the Rambo 2 of M3gan? Just because Rambo 2, not a great movie, but I do enjoy it. It's nothing compared to the first one, but I do enjoy it. But like for a second, I'm like, M3gan 2 is going to take that vibe, and unfortunately, no, because it's revealed that this masked person is actually a government robot called Amelia, and she's inspired by M3gan from the government to essentially do their jobs, but she's going rogue. And I actually do think, personally, I think this movie would have been improved if instead of going for the Amelia angle, just have the government rebuild M3gan and be like, hey, we've made a better one. She's like the super assassin or some shit. But yeah, they did not do that route.
Well, it also tied up a loose plot line from the first one.
Yes, it did.
And
Because yeah,
I was actually very happy about that because that
I
really
wasn't
didn't
expecting that. Yeah.
they didn't go anywhere in the first one, and I was kind of like, well, I mean, that the potential of that is great.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they
And
do follow it up. Yeah.
how they came out with it turning out to be the entire plot of this one. I actually liked that point. I thought that
Mm-hmm.
was great.
Yeah, for me, so I think for me, there's a couple points where this falls flat. Although again, I think this is a bad movie, but I also don't hate it. Like I think let's be real, this is not cool as ice. This is okay. Well, as far as a watching experience, M3gan is suddenly a good guy. Nobody believes she's a good guy because we have like pretty much all our returning cast, but like nobody believes she's a good guy, but she is pretty much a good guy throughout this entire movie.
Yeah.
And she's on a hunt for Amelia, and it's kind of giving me Terminator vibes. And frankly, I'll be honest, like this was not a horror movie. This was an action movie. And I think that's part of where it really falls flat for me because I did not find the action memorable really at all.
Parts of it I did.
Maybe the bit where she jumped out the building I thought was kind of cool.
Yeah, the wingsuit stuff was pretty awesome.
Yeah, but like for the most part, I could pass on it. But it really just feels like this thing's going off the rails for me. And I'm not expecting great heart from Megan, but I do want to know what was the process in creating this. Like,
Well, I feel that studio involvement definitely happened with this.
Mm-hmm.
And like they tinkered with it. They wanted it to be more of an action. And they really kind of like opened it on a bad weekend for movies in this.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I mean, maybe that's why they pushed it for a summer release as opposed to a closer to October, because it's not really a horror. It's more of an
it's
action
definitely
genre.
an action. Yeah.
I feel that it worked a little bit better as a horror movie.
I think they would. I think they should have leaned more into the horror.
But
Absolutely.
in the sense of the story, I don't know how much further they could have gone with it to make it a horror movie. Other than just Megan gets rebooted as a government agent and then decides that she needs to kill Gemma.
Well, that's the thing. So
Gemma, yeah.
Yeah. So that's the thing. So I feel like it, like the third act reveal, I feel like they throw out this pot, like Gemma thinks there's a possible thing where Megan is the actual person controlling Amelia, and this is all her complex plan to get her body back and get like kind of resurrected and be kind of in control. And I feel like that was probably one of the early and probably one of the stronger suggestions for how this story would go. And instead, it's revealed that no, Megan's still the good guy, and the Christian dude who's
Christian,
yeah.
His name is Christian.
His name is douchebag, but he is the real villain.
When they were talking all about it, I was like, or this dude who seems to be relatively calm with all of these revelations.
Yeah.
Like that seems suspicious to me, how calm he seemed about all the revelations of everything, and going, Gemma, I don't trust this fucking guy.
Yeah,
I agree with Megan. I don't trust this dude. Like,
no, not at all.
No, Megan was right. You could do better.
Absolutely. Holy shit. Yeah, Christian. Well, Christian is the one who pretty much ends up being like the main villain, which is really weak sauce. I like when the twist
you thought it
seemed like
you first thought it was going to be Jermaine Clement, or what was that Clement?
Which,
yeah.
by the way, I'm always happy to see him in the movies. He's awesome.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of the Concords, but I like him as an actor.
Yeah.
I think he is hilarious.
I think he has great stream presence, and when he wants to tell a joke, holy shit.
Yeah, but even in this, he was just like such an evil, like rich, smarmy douchebag.
Oh, of course, yeah. Unfortunately, he doesn't last long. He's one of the few body counts in this movie, because I guess there's lots of generic people who die, but like as far as noteworthy
principal players,
nobody. Outside bad guys, pretty much, because this is an action movie. It like he even has Cole like doing the thing where he's crawling through the ducts, which is just like, okay, I guess somebody saw Die Hard. And again, like I want to know the thought process. How did this movie get made? And I want to stress, I'm not expecting great art from Megan 2, because Megan 1 was just a silly horror movie.
Well, it's like I told you with Megan 2 or Megan 1. You know the type of movie it is within the first 5 minutes of that movie.
Yeah, that's true.
It's usually like the Perpetual Pets ad. Yeah, it tells you the exact type of movie this is. Like when I watched it, I was like, okay, it's one of this. Okay, this is the type of movie it is. I'm here for it.
Yeah. Well, what was your thoughts on this, Bobby? Because I've mostly given my opinion. What do you think? I feel like you're more positive than I am, but it's not.
I enjoyed it for the most part. I wish it was a little bit more of a horror than action.
Yes. I think that's my biggest thing. I feel like it leaned action, and I
can
didn't like the
lean
action.
past that, because for the story and it worked. It worked for me.
Yeah, I definitely. I'm not as.
I mean, it had all the hits of everything I was wanting it to have. Like as cheesy as it sounds, I wanted it to have another moment of her singing.
Yes,
And
I'm not gonna lie. I wasn't.
There wasn't
expecting
many.
Kate Bush. I was like,
there,
holy shit.
there wasn't many people in my theater, but everyone was laughing at that.
Yeah.
Like,
Like,
I also wasn't expecting it to be a Kate Bush song, but I was like, okay, I'm here
a
for
Kate
this.
Bush song that's not Running Up That Hill, because that's the song they always use for everything. But it's it's like, holy shit, we're doing a bit more of a deep dive. Okay,
we're getting a deep Kate Bush cut. All right. And she just silenced her. Shh, I'm sitting. I'm having my moment.
That was probably one of my favorite moments, because it was just, it was like, okay, this is kind of batshit. I'm kind of here for it. So,
and I was like, okay, well, at least it still knows that what type of movie it is.
yes.
And that's why I think I still appreciated it, because it had those moments that I felt were so over the top and campy. And this, like, I felt the dance sequence was a little forced.
Oh, very much forced. Yeah. The dance.
It was one of the
Yeah.
most memorable moments of the first one, so I knew there was going to be one in there.
Yeah, and yeah, I it definitely felt like they're like, okay, everybody loved the dance sequence in the first one, like me, I loved it too, because it was just so, okay, what the fuck are we doing? I love it. But then, yeah, this one, like, yeah, felt forced, and yeah, yeah, I don't have too much else to say. It sometimes it's playing the greatest hits, and sometimes it's just reinventing the what it was doing. And again, it's not like it's not like the first one was great art. I enjoy it, but it's not like, it's this bold piece of horror. I just, I wanted it to lean more horror, or maybe even more ridiculous. Like I said, I was almost down when I thought they were going to do M3gan Rambo, where they have to go to the Middle East and fight her. Just like, oh, okay, that sounds stupid. Let's do it. But I also thought it was still going to be a horror movie at that point too. Yeah, I will say, while I don't think I would recommend this in the theater, I would say if you do really like the first one, maybe wait for till this one to hit streaming and take a gummy.
Yeah.
Have some fun with it.
I snuck a THC beverage into my theater.
Yeah, there you go. No wonder you liked it more. No wonder.
I'll admit, I almost spit take during the song. I was like, it's coughing up a lung, just laughing.
But the fact is, listen, I watched Ironheart. I enjoyed it. I haven't thought massively about it since I saw it.
Well,
other than
I haven't
enjoying it
much, but I did think about one plot point that they did talk a lot about,
Mhm.
and they even brought up in M3gan.
Mhm.
And it was the danger of AI.
Yes.
And now this is something that they're just scraping the surface of in Ironheart right now.
Mhm.
But with M3gan, they talked about how the dangers of AI is that one day it'll just realize that it doesn't need humanity.
Mhm. Well, I do think that's they do that, but I also feel like AI is not the point that people think. They call it AI. It's not really. It's
No.
software that we've always used, and it is
No,
just because it's
programmed algorithm software. Yes.
yeah,
exactly.
it is not nearly as intelligent as people like to give it credit for. In fact, it's quite stupid.
Well, we got a comment back here. Hold on. I'm trying to find it. Somebody came in. Oh, here it is. Nike did. Nike had said that, hey guys, the most recent movie they saw was Mission Impossible. Asked if we saw it.
Oh, yeah, we covered it on the podcast.
It sucked. I fucking hated it.
I'm not as negative towards it, but I am done with Tom Cruise. I want this.
I do
want
Tom
the franchise
Cruise,
to end.
And I'm tired of giving him chances, but I only watch him because this guy makes me watch him.
I am cruel.
It's like that scene in The Clockwork Orange, how he gets me to watch Tom Cruise movies. I'm screaming the whole time, like, no, for the love of God, no. Oh, let's see. Blumhouse needs to do something to put it above us. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah,
I agree.
And M3gan 2 is not going to be it, but
no, but well, the thing with Blumhouse is that they have had a fairly all right track record when it comes to the horror genre.
Yeah, for
Like
sure.
they've had
It's not perfect, but they got some
they've
juice in
had a
there.
decent run. I
Mm-hmm.
almost want to say like an almost Dimension Films type of run with it. Not as many hits as Dimension Films because there's all like like the Scream movie, the early Scream movies were all Dimension movies. That's like 1, 2, 3, and I think 4. Or no, the reboot or the not the reboot, but the Halloween H2O and
Oh,
Resurrection,
okay. Mm-hmm.
which we just won't talk about Resurrection. Bride of Chucky and Seed of Chucky were both Dimension, and I think a few Carpenter movies. I think he did vampires as well, or they did vampires as well. But yeah, I don't know. Blumhouse, like I said, they're okay with it. I feel that they're one of the newer other studios today that is putting out at least decent contributions to the horror genre.
For sure, yeah.
A24 is doing another just all right contribution. I feel that they want to lean more into art house, and when you're more focused on your movie looking pretty and all of that, you take away from the elements of what make horror horror, and that's the atmosphere of it.
Yeah, and I think you can do both, but like, yeah,
No.
you don't want to.
I think the biggest thing
don't.
I could use as an example of what I mean by that is like in Midsummer. Like, okay, cool. Yes, visually that looks beautiful. Everything is great. The horror stuff I feel is just kind of tucked neatly into the background until it fully takes shape. But the whole time you're more focused on look how beautiful this movie looks. Look at how vibrant and bright and colorful it is. Look how scary this is, but look how colorful. And it takes it away from me.
Yeah,
And in that case, I would rather just want to watch The Wicker Man and be done with it. And
just,
for the record, the original Wicker Man, not
Nicolas Cage. Come on.
well, I mean, if I want to watch any good Nicolas Cage movie, I'm just gonna watch like Last or Just Bitten. Or what was the vampire movie he was in? Was that it? Just Bitten?
Something like that. I want to say.
Or The Vampire's Kiss?
Oh, I think it's Vampire's Kiss. Yes, that sounds better.
It was one or the other. No, Just Bitten was Jim Carrey. That's right.
That's right. Yes.
That's right. Yes.
But yeah. Yeah, as I was saying, I think you can do pretty horror, just don't take away from the atmosphere because that is a huge part of what makes horror.
And like with the Wolfman, they didn't do that with it. They toned a lot of it back, and they made so much of it since it's happening at night in the shadows.
Yeah,
that added to the atmosphere of horror, and that's one thing that made it really good, in my opinion.
I haven't thought too much about Ironheart. There, I definitely have stuff to say about. But since I saw M3gan, this thing has been on my mind because it's just like the fuck. Like, how did this happen? How was this made? Like, I would never watch the first M3gan movie and be like, I'm gonna write a sequel, and it's gonna be an action movie that's gonna borrow heavily from Terminator 2. It's like, what? And we're gonna force the original characters in there. They don't really have roles, but they're gonna be in there. Why not? Yeah, I feel like there's so much more to discuss about this, and I feel like the internet 10 or 5 years ago would have discussed that, but instead, kind of show how we've degraded. The internet is now focused on Ironheart, which I mean, I'll go ahead and say I think this is a decent show so far. I think the first episode has some very clunky exposition. But since then, it's kind of grown on me. I wasn't even sure what I would think because I am not a fan of Wakanda Forever. As much as I love Ryan Coogler, I think Wakanda Forever had too much shit behind the scenes that kind of wrecked that movie. But I, coming into this, I was like, okay, I'm not sure what I think. I like Dominique Thorne as Riri Williams. I like Anthony Ramos as Parker Robbins, and I like who else? Alden Ehrenreich as Stone. Sorry, as Joe, aka Ezekiel Stain, and we can get more into that as we go. I think as part of the crew, I think I don't know why it's listed that way, but it's Shea Coulee is probably the most noteworthy part of the gang. Otherwise, the gang's pretty not noteworthy. But Bobby, what are your like overall like broad thoughts on this one?
I don't know. So far, I like it. I still feel it's too early for me to make a real call on it.
That is true. I will say one thing. I will
like 3 episodes in, we're just barely starting to scratch the surface.
Yes, and one thing I will add before we so Nerdrotic has been driving me nuts because he keeps on saying Mephisto's gonna be in this, and I don't know who his source is, but he's wrong on everything. So I've just been saying, what's your evidence? You have nothing. And then after watching the first 3 episodes, I would say, yeah, there's pretty strong evidence that even if Mephisto's not in this, there's definitely stuff leading Mephisto in this. So I do think there's going to be some sort of lead up to that. So God damn it, Nerdrotic's right on one thing and wrong.
Has he been praising it, or
no? He's been shitting on this nonstop.
And why does he give a shit who's in it or not?
Yeah, that's a good question. It's almost like these guys are full of shit.
Well, I know that they are, just like.
Well, I guess if we want to talk about some of the hatred this show is getting, one thing we can judge real quick is the IMDb rating of 3.6, I believe. Yes, 3.6, which is just barely a little bit higher than Cool as Ice, which is just ridiculous. This is not anywhere near that. We can go over some of the bad reviews.
I might have a theory. Maybe it's because the majority of the characters and cast are not white, and the only one that is a white guy is a bumbling idiot.
What? But you know what? Here, let's get into some of these nuanced, thoughtful reviews here. Because here's one of the 1 of 10 reviews on IMDb. The moral of the show is you don't have to earn anything. Riri is amazing, apparently because everyone says so. But why? Nobody knows. Just keep saying she's amazing and it'll stick. She didn't even earn the suit. She's not strong, funny, or cool. She just feels like an NPC who stumbled upon a scalper lying on the floor and claims she's the king of the world. She helps her fellow students cheat on their tests and projects, seeking her out just to use her to not fail. So she didn't earn anything, and she's surrounded by people who didn't earn anything. In fact, everyone is just ripping off everyone else, just like Ironheart is a ripoff of Iron Man. Pretty harsh review from Bruno Santos. But let's go ahead and look at this other review. This is a review from Kale90. The moral of this show is you don't have to earn anything. Riri is amazing, apparently, because everyone says so. But why? Nobody knows. Just keep saying she's amazing and it'll stick. She didn't earn the suit. She's not strong, funny, or cool. She just feels like the NPC who stumbled upon a scalper lying on the floor and claims she's the king of the world. Are we sensing gaslighting here?
Yeah, a little bit.
Just like, I don't know, maybe change a couple words if you're going to log into multiple accounts and just post the same thing over and over again.
That's kind of pathetic.
Yes. Well, that's the thing. Like, these guys get so enraged over this stuff. And it's like, I'm sorry, if Ironheart, like, it's fine if you dislike this series. That is fine. But if you get, like, offended by this, like in your soul, you find this offensive, the very existence of this offensive, then at best you're a snowflake, at worst you're a racist or a sexist or just a bigot, and most likely you're both. And let's face it, when I say bigot, you're a snowflake too, because those guys are all fucking the biggest snowflakes in the world. But yeah, this series is it's like I said, the biggest critique I'd give is how the exposition in the first episode really is very clunky. Like when she's leaving, she's expelled from MIT after an accident where one of her professors is hurt. But she's able to take the suit she made with her grant money when she leaves, which is explained because she made it. It's not a suit from Wakanda, though, because if you remember Wakanda Forever, she wasn't allowed to take anything from there. So she essentially has to make stuff from scratch with very little resources because she's not a billionaire like Tony Stark. And she wants to make a suit inspired by Tony Stark, but make it kind of her own, but she needs money. So she joins up with a group of criminals who promise that they aren't going to harm anybody. They are sus, but she's kind of desperate for money. And she's like, okay, we'll give this a shot. And she's learning what a mistake that was. It's almost like it's a hero's arc or some shit, right? Yeah. I actually think this is decent. I want to see where it wraps up. The first episode's clunky. I will also say this character of Xavier, who I think's been in every single episode. I don't like, he's one of her friends, but I can't really tell you too much about him because for some reason, like, my brain just turns off when it gets to that point, and maybe it's just not engaging or something, but that part of the story is not engaging me at all. The story about her trying to make money for the suit. I think Natalie is kind of interesting. It's obviously a replacement for the original, which was Tony Stark, which obviously they can't do because of Robert Downey Jr., which I'm sure he would ask a butt ton of money to do this. But it's kind of interesting. I think she's kind of an interesting inclusion to the story. But yeah, I think pretty much all the critiques, the big critiques I'm seeing of this are largely kind of bullshit, and very few people are actually levying real critiques on this show, which is very frustrating. Bobby, what do you think?
Well, like I said, it's too early for me to call. As of right now, I like it. I'm not a fan of the main antagonist. I just think he's a clunky actor.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just
for the record, I like him. Bobby and I disagree.
That's fine. That's fine. Yeah. We can disagree. It's okay for chaos to be wrong. That's fine. Wait a minute. Yeah, I mean, and it's just, I just think he's kind of clunky, and just I don't buy anything from him. He's not believable. I can just tell that he's reading lines, and that's about it. Mm-hmm. And that's just a me thing. Other than that, I like the whole cast. Like, they're all great. Just when I saw him, I was like, oh shit. Mm-hmm. But that's about it. I just deal with it and go on, because I'm not going to make a big deal about it or base my whole opinion off the show off of one tiny little thing like that.
Well, don't you want to bash the whole show forever and ever?
I mean, if it's profitable,
repost negative reviews on IMDb nonstop.
I mean, if it's profitable, yeah, absolutely.
Oh no, you're not going to make a dime. You're actually going to make other people money.
Yeah. But I do like the introduction of Ezekiel Stain. I kind of like where
I thought that was very interesting.
Mm-hmm. And how different he is than his father.
Yes. I like, at first, like, when they introduce him, I think in the first episode he's introduced, which I want to say is the second episode. He's just Joe, and we don't really know too much about him. And then we discover his dad is Obadiah Stane, and like, he has no respect for his dad. Like, she stumbles into this bag and she's like, what the fuck is in this bag? It looks weird. And he's like, oh, that's dad. And he keeps his dad's ashes in like this Ziploc bag in his kitchen, and it's like, and so he keeps him around, but he doesn't respect him at all. And he, that's part of the reason, like she's coming to him to help her, like, figure out like a lot of the nuances of her tech. And he's not thrilled about working on this type of stuff because of his father. Yeah, which I think is a really interesting thing, kind of potential redemption. Will he turn villain? Will he kind of redeem the Stain name? I think there's lots of potential for his character, and I think he's really interesting. I think Alden Ehrenreich is doing a great job. I wasn't thrilled with his performance as Solo, but like here, I think he's doing a really good performance. Yeah, I think there's an interesting story here, and I do want to see where it wraps up, but I'm enjoying it. Once you get past episode 1, which again I thought was a little clunky, I feel like episode 2 and 3, once we get more into the criminal aspect and getting more into her hero's origin, I think it's interesting. And yes, she is doing some morally questionable stuff, just like pretty much every other superhero. Just like Batman in Batman Begins. Just like freaking Spider-Man going to the wrestling match and letting the fucking burglar run past him because it's not his problem.
Hey! He stole the game! Stop that guy! Stop him! He's got my money!
Thanks.
What the hell's the matter with you? You let him go! cut him off in the lobby, and call the cops. You could have taken that guy apart. Now he's going to get away with my money.
I missed the part where that's my problem.
All heroes have a tragic story that follows them, and yeah, that is another thing. So two critiques I've seen that drive me insane. Is when the one guy at the end of episode 3 is trying to kill her, and they're like almost dying because while he's trying to kill her, they're also suffocating in this room, and the suit piloted by Natalie swoops in, grabs her out, and then leaves him. And everybody's saying, "Oh my God, left him to die." And it's like, okay, number one, he was trying to kill her. Number two, Riri had no control of what the suit does. The suit was kind of on autopilot.
You okay?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll get you out of here.
Doors sealed in 3, 2, 1.
And number three, how many fucking people did fucking Tony Stark kill? Like a lot. Come on. But then the other one that really enraged me was when so she's during their second heist, Riri's getting very suspicious of Parker Anthony Ramos. So she goes to sneak. She puts her suit on AI to do her job, and she goes and sneaks off and kind of follows him to cut off a piece of his hood, which appears to have some sort of magical properties, just to examine it and see what's up with it. She doesn't have her suit, and she's like a level below him. She can, there's like a grating so she can see through and get a piece of the suit. But like, essentially, while she's doing that, he disappears and kills the guy he's talking to. And I've seen people blaming Riri for not saving that guy. And I'm like, she doesn't have her suit. She's a level away, and it happens pretty fucking fast. What do you expect her to do? He would just kill her.
To see how it works, and she plans to do it during the Agents of Antifa's final caper, which of course goes sideways by extorting Hunter Mason, an evil rich
Agents of Antifa. Yeah, but you're not playing to a MAGA audience, right? Right? Yeah.
Guy who just wants to grow food. The Hood conveniently stands still while monologuing so Riri Williams can cut off a piece of his cape. She accidentally sets off an alarm and doesn't lift a finger while the Hood kills Hunter Mason. And then
she was in no position to do anything when that was going on. She couldn't even see him. He just vanished, and suddenly this dude's being lifted up and killed. And she just like she's on like the bottom level and she sees it, but like she can't fucking do anything. Like it happens fairly quickly too. Like what do you expect her to do? She wasn't in her suit. She was just down there for this little dinky little laser so she could cut off a piece of the cloak and analyze it. That's all. That is such a weird thing to criticize her for. She had no ability to do anything in that moment.
And she fucks off so the Hood can kill over a dozen working class security guards. Then she gets...
Well, again, in that moment, she didn't have the suit. She was limited. And if she... all that's going to happen if she decides to butt in is that he will kill her or very likely kill her. We don't know what he would do to her. But very likely kill her or at least knock her out. She's not going to do anything. Probably the most valuable thing she could do is get out and say, hey, this guy's a murdering piece of shit.
Gets caught red-handed by Cousin John with a piece of cloak, who conveniently doesn't throw any of the knives he's specialized at throwing while fighting her, and then she leaves him to die. Our hero, but not to...
Wow. Yeah, Gary. He was just attempting to kill her. He saw her with a piece of cloak, and he was like, "Oh, we can't trust you. We're gonna kill you now." And she barely got away with her life. And the whole situation where like the rooms are getting shut down was a thing that was set up by them. Essentially got left in a trap that they triggered. They didn't set up the trap, but they triggered it, and now the trap's going off. And she essentially didn't save him. That was it. After he attempts to kill her, like, what do you expect, man? Yeah, some of the critiques of this show I just think they're just terrible. And it's like, and it's all for outrage bait, and it's very frustrating because it's like, can we just talk about this show as a show without getting all outraged about every fucking element? Not every hero is more. Do you think billionaire Tony Stark especially at the beginning of Iron Man, is the most moral person in the world? Because that's part of his arc.
For your consideration, the Jericho.
The same thing with fucking Doctor Strange. Holy shit. Is that a hero story where he's driving down the freeway like a maniac, putting everybody's life at risk?
Billy, what do you got for me?
I've got a 35-year-old Air Force colonel, crushed his lower spine in some kind of experimental armor, mid-thoracic burst fracture.
Yeah, well, I could help, but so could 50 other people. Find me something worth my time.
I have a 68-year-old female with an advanced brainstem glioma.
Yeah, you want me to screw up my perfect record? Definitely not.
How about a 22-year-old female with an electronic implant in her brain to control schizophrenia struck by lightning?
That does sound interesting. Can you send me the... Got it.
No, not really.
Yeah, it's all part of the hero's story where they're doing. Yes, they do sus stuff, and it's kind of they learn the hard way. That's how heroes operate.
Well, even like where Tony was selling wet weapons.
I'll be throwing one of these in with every purchase of 500 million or more. It's a piece.
Yeah. I mean, hell, I would actually argue at this point, I find Riri more sympathetic than Tony Stark or Doctor Strange at similar points in their arc.
I would think the only one who has always been morally good from the beginning has been Steve Rogers.
Yeah, well, yeah. That's because Captain America's fucking awesome.
That's because he's Captain fucking America. That's why.
Honestly, you could say the same thing about Sam Wilson too, which is why he's also Captain America.
Yeah. But like, we didn't see a scrawny Sam Wilson standing up to a dude 2 times his size.
True. True, but
still wanting to fight after all that.
Yes, but yeah, I'm enjoying this. I want to see where it turns out, but yeah, I'm enjoying this.
Books, records, films, these things matter. Call me shallow. It's the fucking truth.